I'm Tori and I run Educate and Agitate, the page that you may be watching this on. Okay, so this is episode 3 of my Mental Health Awareness Week vlogs. I am doing a mental health diary for every day of this week for Mental Health Awareness Week. Yesterday I discussed symptoms of the aspects of mental health that I suffer from, and today I am going to talk a little bit about the controversial subject of mental health medication. So you think you may have depression, you think you might have a little bit of anxiety, so what do? Obviously you go to your GP. Now, something that I've learned the hard way is GP it means general practitioner. Okay guys, they don't know everything, and mental health is a specialized subject. So when you go to your GP, don't expect them to have all the answers. A little trick that I've actually learned quite recently is if you go onto your doctor's website, if you go onto the practice website, it'll actually tell you what the doctors that work there specialise in, and you might be lucky enough to have somebody that does specialise in mental health. If you do, fantastic, but don't put all your hopes on getting the answers from your GP. They normally need to refer you to a mental health specialist. With GPs, they do tend to, as soon as they sense signs of depression or anxiety, they will put you down the route of medication. I was very against going on medication. I didn't like the idea of some tablet that I might need in order to be normal. So when I was diagnosed at 18, I refused medication, and my doctor at the time gave me a number for a private therapist, which I didn't have the motivation to go to at the time. So eventually, after another year of spiraling and becoming lower and lower, I went back to the doctor and I accepted medication. The go-to medication that they might normally put you on would be citalopram. Citalopram, I'm not an expert on the medications that I have been given. All I can tell you is what worked for me and what didn't. Citalopram didn't work for me. Again, there is no cure for depression and anxiety. You know, some people will have it for most of their lives, which is something that I feel is probably going to be me. I feel, I'm going to have depression and anxiety for my life, so I need to find ways of combating it and find ways of living a full life with depression. Acceptance is often the key there. Another key point is patience. Now, I'm not a very patient person, but I've been on a journey for nearly a decade, and I'm still on a journey. I'm still finding out what works for me. But there are no quick fixes when it comes to mental health. I was on citalopram, I can't remember exactly how long, but it was definitely less than a year. Then I was changed to fluoxetine. Now, fluoxetine I was actually on for a very, very long time. And it seemed to work until last year, where it seemed to have lost its effect. Whether that was me getting used to it or my depression heightened, but I had to change medication again. I then went on to sertraline. I started off on 50 milligrams and went up to the full dosage of 200 milligrams, but found that didn't work for me. It made me very tired, it made me very dozy, it made me feel quite drunk, made me quite slurry. So I am now on duloxetine, which seems great. I can function every day. It isn't numbing. It doesn't make me feel emotionless. I can still cry at sad things. I can still use the full spectrum of my emotions, but I don't have the overwhelming sense of doom or the hopelessness that I've had when I wasn't on the medication. With these medications, they do take time to kick in, and often, unfortunately, like most medications, like antibiotics, you will feel worse before you get better, because it's balancing out. It's trying to balance out the chemicals. So it does often take 6 weeks to 2 months before you start to feel the full effects. So don't give in. You know, if you do decide that medication is a route that you want to go down, don't think it's going to kick in a few days. And whatever you do, don't stop with the medication. Don't just decide it doesn't work for you and just come off it, because as I've experienced myself, that is not good, guys. I was in university in 3rd year, and I think I didn't have time to go to the doctors. I ran out of medication. I genuinely thought I was dying. I felt sick. I felt shaky, because obviously you're taking something away from your body that your body has been used to for such a long time. So I was withdrawing, basically, and all that was from my medication. So whatever you do, when you do, if you do go on medication, don't self-diagnose. Don't just take that medication away. You need to slowly come off it, and you need to seek advice from your GP and from your doctors. If you've got the flu or if you've got a virus and you need to take antibiotics, you know, you also need to do other things in order to combat that illness. Mental health is exactly the same. Just taking a tablet isn't going to make you better. There are a lot of people that are against medication. I'm not one of them. It has helped me significantly, especially if you have severe depression, which is what I had. However, there are things that you can do that can help you, and that you should do alongside the medication. I have not had any significant amount of time off my medication. The one time that I did come off it, I didn't do very well without it, which is why I feel that perhaps my depression and my anxiety is something that I'm always going to suffer from. That isn't necessarily the case with everyone, and I don't feel that it damages me in any way or makes me any less of a person just because I have to take medication. As a doctor once said to me, if you had a low thyroid, then you would take medication in order to combat that. And that's all I'm doing. I am helping myself by taking medication to up the serotonin in my brain. That is all that I'm doing. And it has taken a long time to find a medication that, for me, allows me to be emotional as well as experiencing life whilst having a balance. I think that's the important thing, because obviously there are some medications that can affect you in different ways, and they do affect everybody in different ways. Citalopram might really work for somebody, sertraline might really work for somebody, but it just didn't work for me, unfortunately. But I had the foresight to go to the doctor and say, look, you know, this medication isn't working, what can we do next? And that is very important. You know, don't give up hope and think, oh, you know, I've taken these tablets for a week and a half and I still feel down, I still feel sad. You know, it does take time. And that is something that is really important, that you must be patient and you must be persistent and you must fight. And, you know, you will get there. I also had medication specific for anxiety. So I had diazepam, which is 2 milligrams. You take it when you feel anxious. You take 1 tablet and you can take it up to 4 times a day. I didn't really use it that often. It is an addictive medication, so they do warn you of that, and they don't give you big doses of it. I've still got it, really. I haven't really used it that often. I haven't really felt that I needed to. And for a time, I did actually have to have sleeping medication. Sleeping has never been a problem for me. As a side effect of perhaps my depression or me just being lazy, I've always been a 12-hour sleeper. I love long sleeps, and I do feel better for having a lot of sleep. But there was a time last year when I had a low period that I couldn't actually sleep, so I was given sleeping tablets. Again, I didn't really find them that useful, but they may be useful for you. So these are the medications that are available. There are very many, they are varied, and it will take time for you to find the medication that you need. Be persistent and be patient, and understand that you are not any less because you have to take medication. There are a lot of negative opinions about medication, especially when it comes to changing people's personalities. And obviously, if it changes you, if it has a negative effect on you, try something else. It doesn't always have to be medication. There are other ways to battle depression and anxiety, and I will be going into some of the things that help me day to day, but today is focused on medication. So I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight into the different types of medication. Just as a reminder, I'm currently on duloxetine, and duloxetine for me works. But like I said, there are many different medications. I would say, as somebody that isn't against medication, but also encourages other forms of self-help and of things that can help you, just don't be afraid. Never say never, and don't be too against things that may actually completely change your life and enable you to live a much fuller life and to thrive in this fabulous world, and not just survive. It's helped me, it's helped other people I know. Some people, it didn't work for them, and they found other ways of battling their depression and anxiety. So it is a case of trial and error, and believe me, there'll be errors, but when you find something that really, really helps you, it is amazing, and it can make a world of difference. So yeah, that's my video for today, guys. I hope you've learned something. Have a fantastic evening, and I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be discussing other ways that we can fight depression, and different methods that we can use in order to make ourselves thrive.